So we are streaming. Hi, I'm Box.
Okay.
I'm Ponzu.
You're watching the Two Smart Guys show, where every week we bring you the latest tech news, mods, hacks, computer builds, long-distance Wi-Fi powered by solar, all kinds of fun things.
Lots of fun. I'm bored these days. You know, there's enough going on, so we decided to tune into Google I/O. And which, if you're really bored and you haven't tuned into that, then you'll be extremely bored for a while, with high points of things that come out. I haven't yet to find out whether they've actually given a name to Android L, but I think it's a dire mistake that they haven't named it yet. If they
You don't think it's gonna be called Android L? You think it's gonna be called something
no,
better?
because the thought of the office is it's gonna be
Lollipop.
I was hoping for lemon drop,
Well,
but
no,
they haven't used a flavor for anything yet.
It's gotta be because they did a deal with Kit Kat, right? So like
that's not a flavor.
But so
because that was supposed to be key lime pie.
Oh.
Remember, and they killed it, and they went to Kit Kat because there's a whole bunch of logos going around about key lime pie.
That's right.
And so we think, you know, the rumor on the internet's lollipop. I was thinking for something more unique, but you know, I think it would be a better PR move if you open Google I/O with, oh, by the way, we're talking about the new version, which we're going to announce. Google, you know, lollipop, lemon drop, lemon squeezy, apple pleasy. I don't care, but that way all your tweeter heads can go and send, and then you got your instant spike of crap.
They could just stick with numbers.
They haven't been. They've been desserts.
But you know, that's what companies do, though. Is like if they're behind in the numbers game, they don't go with numbers. Like Microsoft, you know, the Xbox 360 when it was actually the Xbox 2, and then they couldn't call it an Xbox 3 when there was already a PlayStation 4, so they had to go with an Xbox One. Yeah.
Well, that's because they're trying. But that's the thing. Android's not trying to remake themselves. Xbox is trying to rebrand their image. So that's kind of.
I think Google's like changing their flip-flopping their whole iOS type deal with this. I don't know. It feels really iOS to me. The new.
You know, I was looking at it, and everything has, you know, it's funny because iOS looks more Android. You know, and so
I get what you're saying.
At some point, you're getting homogenized. I think personally, it doesn't look iOS; it looks more like a Windows phone.
Well, I think the new iOS looks more like a Windows phone.
So I think that we're all basically masturbating off each other's, ideas, and just a big gigantic circle jerk of graphic design.
Well,
because
that's the thing. Everybody wants to go flat, and they want to give it 3D depth and perspective, and it's kind of.
So the only part that I actually listened to today, because I only had about an hour window that I could actually pay attention to it, was a little bit them talking about the any space anywhere tools where you can design your mobile app to fit on any size or any aspect tablet or platform. So whether or not, because it was a big deal, you know, you design for a phone,
yeah,
and it doesn't work on a tablet, or it doesn't work on desktop, you know, the same interaction. This designation basically readjusts and squeezes and moves and folds and does all this fancy.
You think they would have figured this out like years ago? Because Android's always had different aspect ratios on all their different devices. It's really important they should have done this a long time ago.
I think this is key to something they're working on. And we've heard about Android being integrated into cars. Okay, we've heard about Android now working its way into different things. I'm curious if Android's working their way into a Surface type thing where it'll actually be a different design physically. It'll be either really long and panoramic platform thing where it can actually cascade across, something where it's like not your standard landscape or portrait, rectangle design. Like we're going bigger, or we're going taller, or we're going to an obtuse that we're not into yet. Maybe round. Who knows? I'm just saying that it's interesting that they're really making a big deal about this scalability when we don't have we kind of have dealt with that before. And I didn't realize it was as big a deal as they're saying it is. Not that it's not a big deal, but it's just, I didn't realize it was that big a deal.
I don't know. We'll see. Did you see the cardboard boxes they gave everybody to make VR headsets with?
No.
Yeah. So that's one of the things they gave out to everybody. Yeah, exactly. They gave these little cardboard kits that you fold up, and it has lenses, and it makes an Oculus Rift for your Android phone to sit into.
Oh, interesting.
And it's made to go with a new development kit, I guess, that's made for designing, VR type applications. So that was kind of interesting. And then they also gave instructions online, so you could basically make them yourself if you weren't there, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I think they really are doing a double duty. I think that they're comfortable enough now with the operational success. They're not fixing bug patches every time they turn around. That they're actually working on painting the car.
So
like the engine's in the car and the car's running, and we don't break down every week. Great. Can we put a better paint job on the car, and we put leather seats in it now? That's kind of what I got out of the beginning of what I was watching here. Whereas there's a lot of UI stuff. And I'm not a huge fan of sitting through UI discussions, but because I want to see the next cool flying jigger that they're going to put out.
Did they mention anything about tablets? Like, because their market share on tablets is like not anywhere near where the iPad is, where their phones are like way higher.
I didn't see enough of it to know that. Like I said, the only thing that I really got into was when I was watching it was they were talking about doing design, being more friendly to designers and developers, where they would be able to develop it once and it would scale, which I personally think my developers are going to freak out about, because they don't like things that automatically do anything. Advertisers hate it. Other people, because you want to be able to use your space in a design method that your guys have come up with. So it'd be interesting to see how they come up with the toolkit.
Did you see anything, Doctor?
Did you see the cheap shot they took at Apple?
No. What did they say?
They're doing force updates now, where you don't have a choice to update to the newest operating system.
Oh.
So unless you jailbroke your Android.
Really? They're going to force updates on Android now?
Yep.
That's not like them at all.
Within the first half an hour of the video, it was like right before he started talking about the $100 phone for Nigerian, or wherever it is.
Crazy.
They did mention something, and I don't know. I'm going to have to look through here, but I'm trying to see if it's in hour 2 or not. But they did kind of start talking about Google TV or Android TV.
Yeah, so the TV, from what I was reading, is going to be Android TV, and it's going to be kind of based on more of the Chromebook than the Google TV that used to be out. I mean, the Chromecast. They're not abandoning Chromecast, they said. They're going to still develop more on that. But this is going to be like the evolution of it. And they have TVs from, I think they said Sony and somebody else. Samsung.
I see Samsung.
They're going to be running it right away. So, like,
I know they have a great relationship with Sony. I hope that they don't completely abandon all of us who bought, Google boxes, and actually upgrade that software just a little bit, just kind of keep it up with it, so that it doesn't. So that apps like Amazon, by the way, in the recent release of Amazon Fire and all their stuff, have changed their, I don't know how many people have noticed this, but their interaction with streaming media boxes, mine has been really weird because it's not actually an app. It actually connects to an API at their website. So it looks very much like their website when I click on the Amazon on my Google TV. Amazon recently did some changes, and it's kind of weird, funky now. So I hope it's a matter of just updating the operating system, or updating either the bug fixes on Amazon, because obviously Amazon wants to service Fire. That's their whole purpose now. So I'm sure they just built, for their new stream box and did some upgrades, so it really looks great on their stream box, but maybe breaks everywhere else. So I don't have a Roku.
What about the cars? You see anything about the cars?
I was looking for. Like I said, I only spent an hour on it.
There's been Android devices for cars for a while, but I guess they're making it a standard now, and like
I'm trying to remember if it was BMW or who. Honestly, anyone who's watching this, you just need to go watch the first day's keynote, and I'm sure throughout the next couple of days we'll find more. It's in the show
notes, so if you want to click and watch the keynote.
Did you guys see the Bluetooth proximity for the cars they're putting into the Google?
No.
So you don't have to unlock once you step into your car or get close enough to your car, your Bluetooth unlocks it, and then it's auto synced to your car. So when you go to navigate somewhere, you just ask Google, find me a restaurant, and then it all pulls up on the center screen console.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty cool, and it was a good idea with the proximity of the Bluetooth, especially with the new Bluetooth, what is it, 3.0?
Yeah.
Well, and there's a new security feature that they talked about on their phones where they identified that everyone, the tapping in your password every time you pick up your phone is kind of a pain in the ass. And so what they said was they would have it connected to a device, like a personal device that you have on you, that it registers with the phone. And so you'd use Bluetooth, like a Bluetooth, like the MyFits or things like that are all talking to your phone. It would be like, it would verify by what it knows of your equipment or your stuff.
Right.
So if you're wearing a watch.
Yeah.
The new fitness kit they're coming out with for Google, it's going to use the sensors from like the Nike Plus and the ones that are mainly for Apple right now. Google is pretty much implementing them in their system.
But it's going to use, so if you have a watch or if you have one of these devices on you and your phone knows that you own it and your phone talks to it, regularly, the act of physically touching your phone while wearing the device will unlock your phone.
That's kind of cool.
So that way
you
don't if you're wearing the watch. So if you take off the watch or you take off something else and you don't have it on you, and it goes for a passcode. But that way it's more of a it's a adaptive security feature.
That's kind of the last big thing is they gave away 6,000 watches at I/O. They gave one to everybody that attended. See, I told you to wait. You wanted to get the Galaxy Gear like Monday, and I'm like, no, tomorrow they're releasing something new.
Right.
Yeah. One of these days, I got to find an excuse to go to Google I/O because there's no reason for me to ever go.
It's a lottery. If you put in there for 2 minutes, it's open, it's full, and they do a random draw of the people that got in.
Let me tell you something. It may be a lottery for some people, but people who have Google account representatives, it's not a lottery. There are, I would guarantee, half of the tickets. Well, it wouldn't be me that goes. It'd be one of our developers who's really, really into it.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that I'm learning about Google that if you have an ad rep, you do whatever you want. Why do I have an email address that actually gets a response at YouTube? Because I have an ad rep. Like I can physically email someone at YouTube and get a response. It's the only reason it is.
Quit your bragging.
I'm just saying I at least don't get the robot. So imagine if I actually spent a lot of money on Google. If you were someone who was putting out major software, major Android development, you guaranteed spots.
Well, that makes sense.
They want you there.
This is the first phone without an Apple on it that caught my attention. The Note 3. And
I tell you, I have never owned and probably never will own anything that has a fruit shape on it. So.
Fruit shape on it. Why?
Whether it be apples or pears or grapefruits or whatever watermelon, I'm sure they'll have something soon.
All right, so Before we wrap this up, was there anything else that was like major that we missed on the thing? If, in the comments, please post below what you thought was major that was announced or worth talking about.
I know Pox hasn't got a chance to look at it, and Doctor hasn't. I got to look very much of it. So my suggestion would be comb through it, go through the suggestions other people give you, look at this stuff. You don't have to sit and listen to everything, zip back and forth. You can find different addresses, but it's a good investment if you're a tech geek to sit and watch this stuff, because no, it's not 2014 or even 2015 that you're seeing this stuff. If you go back 2 years to watch the 2011, you're watching stuff that they're doing now implemented, further on. But what they are doing is they're forecasting for us, just like we talk about a lot of the stuff we do. This is a forecast moment where you can see where tech is moving. Once you know where tech is moving, you can kind of align your purchasing or your ideas with it.
Like the Google Glass they announced 2 years ago. Still not a real product.
Real product. And guess what? At that time, they spent a little bit of time on it, but you can see they weren't really committed to saying, this is going to be in everyone's house. What they have committed to is they were talking, what I find interesting there is they were talking about a side thing, whereas everyone has a personal device. And you see that coming in at 2011 and some 2010 stuff. You start talking about personal use of electronics for individual needs, whether it be, they talked a lot about medical devices. They talked a lot about helping people who were disabled. They talked about having people who were fitness oriented. And guess what? Those are the devices that they, that hit really well. So little things that are like spike moments where they're like, oh, look at the greatest, newest. It's fantastic, but what the point is, take the core of it and look at, say, we see personal devices. We see a lot of UI happening on the first day, so that tells me that there's a big focus going right now on user experience and trying to win your hearts and minds based on how much you like playing with your device, because you're starting to integrate it into your life. It's no longer a phone with apps. It's now, this is my phone and I will die without it.
The thing I liked about the conference that they were really key on, I guess, at the beginning, was the fact that they're trying to make phones cheaper so that people who have no access to phones at all right now can gain them. Which I think that's kind of cool. It's like bettering the world. And any company that takes the time to better the world's in the right direction,
And they're keying off of a point that we're seeing a lot of now. People are hating contracts. Okay, so we know this is a line that's going to be crossed here soon. We know that we're starting to have a breakup of the major cell phone companies. We know that people want to have a choice. So the only thing that's prohibiting most people, doesn't matter where you're at, from getting the phone they want is the fact they need to either have a contract so they can get the phone for free, or they get a subpar device that they can afford. So if you can't afford a $600 phone, go look at the new Amazon phone. They just announced it. If you want to get it without a contract, it's $650 for the phone. No way.
Man.
So, I'm lucky enough that my work pays for my phone, and I can get whatever phone I want when that happens, and they'll pay the $600 for my phone, or they'll do it through the contract system they've got. It doesn't matter. The point is, average people can't pay $600 every year for a new phone. It just isn't in the cards. But they can pay $150. They can pay $200. You get the price of the phone down. You get this bottleneck that we have around, actually this choking sensation away from us, and we'll have freedom.
AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon are all trying to combat that, though.
Trying to do like the Edge.
Yeah, the Edge plan, and AT&T's got upgrade.
This is the thing. The person who comes out with that phone, which is amazing and not some BS tactic, and then it has it paired up with, if you could have a GSM and not Edge, but GSM and LTE integrated phone without having the chipset cost you an arm and a leg, and you could literally take it to Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, or whoever you wanted to, you would change the world. And especially if you hit that price point of under $100. If you had a $99 phone that just rocked, it would sell out. It would not matter how many people loved their iPhone. You would sell out because everybody buy them for their kids. They'd buy.
They could do it like Raspberry Pi, the of the phone world. Just dirt cheap, works good, works on everything.
There's a couple of components that are exceptionally expensive within phones, and that's the part that I see them trying to change.
Well, yeah,
I really see them trying to do like the integrated circuit version of transmitters.
Like about the new Amazon phone is it doesn't seem like they took years to design the actual phone, but the software within the phone is amazing. And like I don't know, like the Firefly, and then what's that? The little display they got now for the was it the Fire phone?
I didn't catch this stuff on the Fire yet.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's like it moves with you. It's kind
of you would like it actually, Pox, a lot because it's all 3D based on subjective where your perspective is at.
I was trying to show Dr. Pones that there was an app, and I think they bought it. I think that's what they bought. That was on the iPhone. That did
guess
basically
what? Android's
the same
using
thing.
it too.
Yeah.
Android's starting to integrate it too in their Maps feature, but it's not the same. The big deal with the Amazon phone is like your home screen is kind of like you twist it and you play with it. It's a gimmick.
Well, that's what they did done with iOS 7 on the iPhone. The whole where you rotate it and it's.
But this actually works. This actually is cool.
Is what gets me. Like
you can play with it like it's a game.
And it scrolls down while I'm, and then like I turn it and it goes to my next page of my apps. I mean, I could see usefulity of it, I guess.
I see it as a gimmick because, granted, we're pumping a huge processor into a phone just so we can have a play toy, and that's not what the point of it is. But if Google can really just shove the price down, or they can do something huge in terms of bringing the technology that makes a phone expensive down considerably, and if they own that, where your Motorola, since they've got the Motorola and Motorola phone did it, and no other phone, LG, Samsung, and they just had that ownership, I think it would take off. I think they would start working on that side of it, and then you would have it just a new rocket for a different kind of phone system. So, but I don't know if it's even possible. Honestly, is there a digital way of doing what they do, for LTE and be able to change it to GSM or, H, whatever that system's called, so that it's adaptive wherever you're at. It would be kind of cool. Because that would make it truly a global phone. It wouldn't matter where you went. You could just, companies like Straight Talk would have a fit because they could absolutely give you service anywhere. You'd see all the spaces in the map now filled in. Because, certain, towers work this area. I would never have to worry about where my service was because your phone could digitally change service providers inside if you were like on a system like Straight Talk. It could just flip between where the best service was where you're at.
What I don't get is why phones today don't have like dual band CDMA along with the SIM card and the 4G, and then it just like, depending on where you're at, it has an intelligent like channel shifting. So you go buy a CDMA tower and it switched to CDMA.
Well, yeah, that's what Couch Guy's talking about.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. If you were, because for instance, the reason why they don't is because AT&T is GSM. They're locked into GSM towers. They're never going to go away from GSM towers unless something significant happens because they've got $1 billion invested in it.
Even the LTE that Verizon uses is based on GSM.
Well,
but they're different frequency bands. So the LTE chipsets are different chipsets.
Yeah. And Verizon invested huge into CDMA for years, and they couldn't get out of it. That's why they had to go to LTE because they're working their LTE, which is not going anywhere very fast because it's very expensive. So if you had like a Straight Talk system where you're a independent person and you're just, working your way through a bunch of different tower providers, you could bounce off Sprint. You could bounce off, AT&T. And guess what? If you are sly enough about it, your consumer would never know what's going to happen as long as they got the best service possible. You could go from, you cross the country and your phone system never changed. You didn't know. You just know you had service the entire way.
Be cool.
That would be cool.
I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
That would be, seriously, that would be probably one of the coolest things.
They do make phones like that, like the knockoffs in China. But
they make phones that have both.
You have to get different SIM cards for every provider, and you got to put them in there.
Yeah, you have to have a service contract.
They have dual SIM card phones that run on like GSM and CDMA and the different types of LTE, but they have to have each plan.
And each
phone numbers.
Numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes your phone exceptionally expensive.
Yeah. Well, except for these particular phones that I've seen are really cheap, but they're cheap in spec wise too. Anyways,
what about the new Galaxy Gear? The Galaxy, what's it? They're on the 3 now, right? Galaxy Gear 3.
Is that what they're on? The 3?
It's supposed to be released this Wednesday? This coming Wednesday? It's going to hit shelves, right?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to when the Galaxy stuff is. I don't really.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, they had the 2, and then there should be a 3 that's based on this new Google platform, I guess. I don't know.
It's going to be available for all Android devices instead of just the Galaxies this time, right?
Yeah. The new, I think so. It's all rumor. Who knows?
I haven't actually checked our chat room to see whether or not we have anybody chatting with us. So
they're probably like, you don't know
should
anything.
Do that. I know it's it'll be a whole list of people saying, "Oh God, you brought Couch Guy back. We hate Couch Guy."
No, they're like, "Where's Couch Guy?"
one person will say, "Where's Couch Guy?"
There was a couple guys that were like, "What happened to Raggable?" Just because you were gone. Yeah. Like, what?
Well, that's funny. Where's Raggable? Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Ponzu. So what's the status on the build from last week? We got the components in, right?
Yes, we did. I got a video made of the build. It's detailed. It's going to let you guys know pretty much everything that's going into it, and we got to do a little bit of editing on it and make it look all pretty, but part 2 will be up probably tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Cool.
I'm going to throw it in what's my program called?
You have like a Dropbox or something? Or?
Yeah, I do. I'll add it to my drive and then send it to you. And I send it to you too. And we'll edit it and make it awesome.
Cool.
But
speaking of Dropbox and things like that, did you see that Copy.com put a limit as how many referrals you can now have?
Only because of you. How many did you get? How many gigs did you get?
I have 160 free gigs of storage. You can now get up to, I think it's 45.
Did they lower yours?
No, they didn't lower mine.
Oh, your
I'm waiting for them to do so. I'm waiting for them to find some reason to kick my ass off of it in the way that I've been doing it, because they will eventually. I thought for sure this last week. I actually signed up for a work account on it, and I, of course, used my referral thing, and I thought, crap, because they caught on to it really quick. So it was stupid of me. Oh, yeah.
As far as the build goes, I don't know if we want to wait till next week to do the software portion of it.
Probably.
Or if we wanted to do it sooner than that. Probably wait till you get back so we can go over some nice little tricky stuff.
Yeah. If you want to get it done sooner and just record it, and then we can talk about it for next week. But otherwise, yeah, wait till next week.
The processor we got is I put it on overclocked it to I put the voltage at 12 and then overclocked it to 46, and we were running at 4.6
gigahertz.
Yep, at 92 degrees with the Intel stock intercooler CPU cooler.
Cool.
Which is crazy considering it's only 2.5 out of the box.
I don't know that we ever saw your video actually in the YouTube feed, because I'm hearing you guys having a conversation, watching the YouTube feed, and it never shows you. FYI.
Never shows who, me?
I don't see you showing up at all.
Oh, I switch to me every once in a while. I kind of forgot a little bit there towards the end.
FYI, I finally got my hands on a new Mac Pro.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I got a trash can.
Sweet. You're just looking at one at the Apple Store today.
Guess what happened? I crashed the damn thing, the first thing I did to it.
How'd you do that?
I freaked it out. Just crashed it. It seized up. Actually, it's done it a couple times.
Really?
It's launching programs, too much data.
Oh, snap. My Skype just froze. That's kind of funny.
SSD.
There you go. Now you're back.
So.
That's funny when you said that.
Did I disappear?
Yeah, the Skype feed froze.
Oh, no, I said I had to wait till we got a 4 terabyte Thunderbolt drive because I couldn't use it. We only had 256 gigs of SSD.
Oh, wow.
And so I could basically watch it per. But, yeah, as soon as I got it in there, I was plugging things in and rebooted it, started trying to work, and it's like Premiere crashed, everything crashed, the whole thing just sat there. And I was like, I killed it.
Is it the A10 or the A6 or the i7?
Honestly, I think it's the i7. I don't know, because I'm afraid of being disappointed because I got to put zero input into purchasing it. They were like, yeah, we'll buy you something. And I'm like, I want to do video editing and I want to do 4K. Please buy something good. And then, like, it took them, like, seriously, I'm not exaggerating, 3 months to figure out to buy me something. I've been asking for it for 3 months. I didn't care what it was. So they finally just kind of set it up and just left it. They didn't tell me anything. They just, like, turned it on and, like, left it in my little area. And I'm like,
you know, I would freak out if I came to work one day and had a Mac Pro sitting on my desk.
I wasn't at work when it actually showed up. I actually got phone calls. They're like, you guys, somebody set up an editing station in this intern's cubicle area. I'm like, oh, I'll move it. So everybody who walks by my desk sees, you know, because I have one of those monster Thunderbolt monitors with it,
Yeah.
but nobody really pays attention to that. My boss thought it was a subwoofer. He's like, oh, did you get a new speaker? I'm like, that's the...
Anybody try and throw some gum into it or anything yet?
I know. I'm wanting to see whether or not somebody actually does anything with it, because it looks okay. So here's the problem: a lot of people can see, like, walk over and, like, because where my desk is set up, I'm against a kind of it's not a hall, but it's kind of a common walkway, and people, I've got this privacy screen that kind of goes my eye level, which it sits below. But people lean over and talk, and I'm waiting for someone to actually, with a drink, set a drink in that little cup holder sized thing at one point. So a couple people have leaned over it and, like, felt the heat coming off of it, and we're like, "What?
It's a coffee warmer."
Well, I work in a tech company, and some people are stupid, so I'm waiting for something to happen.
But no, I'm saving up for one. I want to try out the A10. Well, if you guys, like, isn't it? It's going to be it's the first Intel that Apple has really released.
They've done Intel for a few years. That was the
the A10.
I mean, you're talking about the video card, right? You mean AMD?
Yeah,
That's AMD video cards.
It's the first AMD they probably put in. Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
Because they've been NVIDIA for everything else. It's weird that they went with AMD.
It's really weird, because that's actually a big deal for a lot of the companies who do graphic design.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I do graphic design, and I got the Titan. Could have probably bought like 4 AMDs. But GTX is better than mine. I don't know. I like it's faster. It's got better user support.
Gentlemen, it's about that time. So, and I would say anyone who's watching at this point, watch Google I/O, catch up on what's cool. subscribe to the feed because God knows we're going to be late every time we turn around. And you need a notification when we put a new show out because it's not going to be on time, but it's going to be there eventually. So once a week, something will arrive in your feed. It just won't be at the time that we say it will right now because normally we do it 8:30 Mountain Time. Unless, of course, there's an hour delay for some other reason, or we have tech problems, or
I'm in Vegas.
Stuff happens. So subscribe to the feed. Comment. Tell us what the hell you like at Google I/O because we've been watching it. Give us, tell us you find something because I can't watch the whole thing. I got work to do.
Check us out on Twitter. I'm at Walking Crow.
I'm at Tommy5C.
I'm at Dr. Ponzio.
This has been Two Smart Guys. See you guys next week.